Okay.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Paranormal Zone TV on Do You Believe show. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. I'm kind of, tonight's show is something I've never done before. Now, you guys have been with me for years. You know I've never done anything like this before. And I'm so excited because my guest, well, I'm going to let her tell you her story and how she contacted me. Now, listen, everybody, it's going to be graphic in nature. She's going to tell her whole story. And some of you may not like what she has to say. Hey, but I'm warning you, okay? And it's quite a story that she has. The descriptions of her demonic entity is nothing like I've ever heard before. And so I'm a little nervous about this, but for tonight, she doesn't want to be, she wants to be anonymous. So tonight I'm going to call her Debbie, just for the sake of a name. And so everyone, let's welcome Debbie to the show. Hey, Debbie, thank you so much. Are you okay?
I'm great, Noreen. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate the opportunity that you're giving me to speak on this topic and to kind of have a little confessional. And I just want to say hi to all the listeners and those in the chat room that might have had a similar experience. It's actually more common than I thought when I got onto the internet and started researching. It was surprising to me how many experiences there were online and how many people were experiencing the night terrors and the visitations. And I'm just really glad to be able to kind of come out to the world and tell them my story.
And Debbie, actually, this happened because of a show I did several weeks ago, the show called Stalked by a Demon. And you had sent me a message explaining to me about your story. So tell the viewers how you contacted me, and actually Debbie was really leery about coming out. So tell them the story.
Well, I was hesitant to come out simply because one of the reasons was because I hadn't really solidified everything in my own mind. And the other was that I was afraid of exposing someone that might be still being abused. And it was a hard decision, but I think this anonymous kind of situation is really helping me a lot to be able to come forward and tell all the details that I need to tell. And I don't, like I was telling you, Noreen, that I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, whether it was the demons that came first or the actual sexual abuse in the family. And also in the neighborhood, there were others in the neighborhood that were also participating in this. So I don't really know, but I think it's good to be able to understand what you can do to overcome it.
And you were telling me also you had a reason for doing this, that you want to help other people.
Yes, I do. I mean, I have no desire to, use this in any way other than to help people with their own issues, and whether it's being abused or being a victim of some other abuse. I do believe that it is very much spiritually related.
Oh, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, spiritually. All right. So do you want to start from the beginning and tell them your story?
Sure. I believe that the sexual abuse for me started when I was an infant, and it was not my immediate family, not my mother or father, but someone who was babysitting me, and I had no memory of it at all. So this is something that is hard to express, because as I get along in the story, you'll be able to see why that's so. It went on until I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and I had one sexual attack again at 14, but I was aware of what was going on, was able to fight it off. The demonic activity or the paranormal activity started probably when I was not even 3 years old.
Jill, Debbie, may I ask you a question? When we spoke the other day, you had mentioned to me about you thought this happened to you when you were about 2 years old, and that there were 3 men in the room.
Yes, and my grandmother, my father's side of the family, and I believe that she rescued me. And I think she took me from that situation, but it had already occurred.
And so you remember an incident from when you were 2?
I did not remember. I had amnesia to that particular event until I was much older, when I had a dream, and I asked for the dream. I actually did, because I was fighting demons in my sleep. And I just said, enough of this. I want to know the real truth.
Okay, go ahead.
And, I had the dream, and the dream was that I was lying on like a table, and I could look up and see these 3 men, and there may have even been a 4th one, but I don't think that they were participating. And I remember being in a lot of pain and crying, and it was actually, my dream took place from my own point of view. I could actually see all of my own eyes. And my grandmother came in the room, and she was swinging her arm, picked me up, put me on her arm and over her shoulder, and carried me out of the room.
And this was a dream?
I don't believe it was a dream. I believe it was a memory.
A memory. I think I mentioned this to you. With 3 men, and you being surrounded by these 3 men, that from all the readings and stuff that I've done, it sounds, it leans toward a possible satanic rape.
Well, I think it certainly was evil, and it certainly wasn't of God. And I believe that there's a possibility, considering how many alcoholics are in that side of the family, that they could have been drunk, or maybe using drugs or something. I don't know, but I don't think that they were certainly not in their right mind.
Do you know of any practices or rituals that anybody in your family may have been doing?
Not that I'm aware of. West Virginians, I told you I'm from West Virginia, and I don't mind that being out, because I think that in the mountains there's a lot of different cultures and people that have lived up the hollers for centuries, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if there were some sort of abuse ritual at some point. I don't believe it exists in my family. I think it was just straight up sexual abuse, and I think it was pedophile in nature, and I know that other family members have also experienced it, maybe not from the all 3 or anything else, but isolated situations where they were also victimized.
Now, you've said to me that this has gone back to many generations.
I believe, given the personality issues that some of the women in my family have had from generations before me, I believe that they were also subject to this kind of abuse. And if you just read like a list of symptoms from PTSD, you'll see a lot of those things with people who are sexually abused, and they're treated as patients with PTSD. And there are situations where they have amnesia, loss of memory, self-esteem, guilt, all kinds of things. and they operate their whole lives under the influence of those acts. It ruins their whole ability to make decisions and judgment.
So do you want to go on with your story?
Sure, yeah. There were other people that were predators in our area, which makes me think it was kind of part of the drinking alcoholic scene from back in those days. And you know, I'll let the listeners know I'm 62 years old, and it took me the better part of my life to figure out the connection and the paranormal influences that resulted from it or came before it or caused it. And I have memory of being assaulted at 3. I have memory of being assaulted at 7. And I'm sure that there are other situations where I don't remember anything. And around these assaults, there's a lot of paranoia, a lot of fear that you're going to be victimized again. And you start having experiences. I believe it opens the door. I believe it opens the door to negative spirits. And these are things that I talked to one of my friends and a relative about the hand from under the bed, which is really, excuse me, a common occurrence with children, and it's in storybooks. It's all over. It's part of our culture. So back in those days, we didn't talk about scary things. There were no movies. There were no movies of demons or evil things on television, or you didn't go to the theater and see a movie about demons. So I think that my memory of these things are really, really pure because there was nothing to influence it. There were doors that would open by themselves. There were shadow people. And it was, I thought it was just me seeing these things, but evidently not. This last couple of weeks I've done a little bit of investigating and found that several family members were experiencing the same thing. And I don't know if I did not share the demonic visit. But I did talk to one family member, and she brought back a memory to me of the first time I saw the man at the end of the bed. I'm giving a little pause here. Did you want to ask a question?
No, go ahead. And is this the demonic entity you're referring to, or is this another entity you saw?
You know what? I think it was the beginning of it. And I didn't remember it until the other day. And I thought, you know what? I'll bet it was the same one. And that he had been there all along. And it wasn't until I got older that it became so strong and so in need of controlling me. So, you know, then when I was, I don't know, probably 15 maybe, that's when I saw what I would call a demon or a dark entity. And it was pretty shocking because it was clear. It was not a shadow.
Do you want to describe this demon?
Yes, I will. I was staying with my grandmother. Our home was built on the family property, and my grandmother had a hip replacement, and my grandfather was in the hospital for something else. And so I was staying with her to help her out because she was wearing a body brace. And she lived in this little old frame house. There's a lot of them in West Virginia, 2 bedrooms and a kitchen, that kind of stuff. She didn't even have a bathroom on that house until the 60s. And they had an outhouse. This is out in the country. And they put my bedroom up in the living room, which was next to her bedroom, so that I could hear her and help her. And I stayed with her for quite some time. I think it was many weeks anyway. And I remember in the middle of the night, it was starting to become winter and feeling very cold at night. But I didn't know why suddenly it would be cold in that room. There was a big gas stove, and some of you may know what it looks like. It's one of those great big gas stoves that has the tile in the front of it, and you just see the flames shooting up through the tile. And my bed was on the other side of the room. And suddenly, the temperature would drop in the room, and it would be very cold. And the only thing I could think of was that my grandmother was stepping out onto the back porch in the middle of the night, although she had a lot of trouble moving around. She had a walker, that kind of stuff. And I would just fall asleep, pull the blankets up over my head, and then it would happen night after night. And I could hear what kind of sounded like a door opening, and that would be what would wake me up. And I don't know if you've seen the movie The Sixth Sense, but where the woman starts breathing and her breath is freezing coming out of her mouth.
Yeah.
That's exactly how cold it became. And so I would crawl underneath my blankets and just go back to sleep. Although I would feel very, troubled by the fact that it was so cold. After a few times that this happened, and I don't think it was every night, Noreen. I think it was probably maybe every other night, maybe sometimes every night. I suddenly could feel a presence. And I rolled over in bed, and I could see this dark shadow on the other side of the room. And of course, it paralyzes you. I mean, I had fear. I had instant fear. And I couldn't speak. I couldn't cry out. And for some reason, and this is something I've been reading about too, that a lot of people, when they have that experience of a dark entity in a room with them, they'll go back to sleep for some reason. And it's very weird. And you wake up the next morning and you think you've had a dream. So this happened night after night, and I'd hear that what sounded kind of like a door. And then I noticed each night the shadow was getting closer and closer to me. And it was not backing off. It wasn't moving, but it was just standing there. It moved over in front of the fire one night, and I could see the shape of the body, and it was the shape of a man. And he was probably about 6'6.5" tall. And he wasn't moving. He was just standing there. And again, I would go through the fear part where I would fear so badly that I would shake and tremble, and I couldn't speak. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't move. And so I went to my minister, and he told me to step away for a few minutes, and that he wanted me to come back into the room later. So I stepped out of the room, and he called about maybe 3 men and a woman from the church. And I told them the story. He had me tell them the story. And they looked completely shocked. Did you want to say something? I'm sorry.
Now, is that the same demon that you had seen before when you were telling me about the scales?
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Wait till they hear this. Go ahead, honey. Go ahead.
Yeah. It wasn't until the last time I saw it that I got to see it completely. Because, anyway, the people in the church prayed for me, and they totally believed me. And they gave me instructions on how to pray. And I was shaking when I was telling them the story, and it was hard for me to speak.
Can I ask you one question? How old were you at this time?
About 15.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And so I went home to my grandmother's. And what's amazing is this stuff was going on and she wasn't even waking up. I thought, man, that woman could sleep through anything. So I went to bed, and this time I just thought, okay, I was trying to remember what they said to say and how to pray and how to speak to it. And it came in, but this time, Noreen, it was right against the bed. Its legs were touching the edge of the mattress.
The leg? It was touching your legs?
It was his legs were touching the edge of the mattress. It did not touch me.
Oh my God.
So I was frozen again, shaking and paralyzed. So the only thing I could do is think a prayer. So I started praying that the Lord would give me strength, that the Holy Spirit would be with me, and I repeated the name of Jesus over and over in my head. And then finally, I just felt empowered. And I got up on my knees, and I scooted to face with this thing. I was inches away from it, and it felt like it was so cold. It was like the coldest ice you could imagine. And I felt like it was sucking the heat out of me. And I had trouble opening my eyes and keeping my eyes open. I couldn't speak to it yet. I was paralyzed still in my throat. And I asked the Lord to help me to speak. And I was suddenly able to open my eyes. And I looked at this thing, and it was shaped like a man. It has no clothing. And it was as tall as I thought it was, and because I remember I had to look off a bit into its face. Its skin was like crude oil, and it had like a worm kind of texture to it that constantly shifted and moved, like there were bugs under the skin or worms under the skin. And I looked into its eyes. Finally was able to look into its eyes. Its eyes were black and oily. There was no light emitted from this thing. It was like the exact negative of what was holy. And it had this look on its face. It had lips and a nose. It had this look on its face of satisfaction.
Oh my God.
And it looked as though I control you. And I still couldn't speak yet. And finally, I was able to say the name of Jesus. And it cracked, and I just couldn't get it out. And it cracked. It was like it had its hands around my throat.
It had its hands around your throat?
It's what it felt like. It felt like I couldn't speak because there was a lot of pressure on my throat.
And you were making eye contact with this entity?
Yes. Yeah.
And it obviously it didn't speak, but was it maybe communicating with you? In another, did it try to communicate with you, or was it sending you any messages telepathically?
I'm not sure if it was trying to message me or give me any information other than the fact that it wanted my life force. I think it wanted my energy. It wanted to make me afraid. And it felt, honestly, the look on its face was, I've got you. I've got you. And the shifting and the ugliness of his appearance was so shocking that I felt almost like I can't physically, as a person, I can't do this. So I was eventually able to pray, and when I began saying the name of Jesus, I couldn't even say the prayer that the minister had given me at first. When I began saying the name of Jesus, the expression on this entity completely changed. It went from that look of satisfaction and kind of a half grin to where its face just went flat. and controlled him, and that he was no longer welcome, that he could not return to this place, and that he could not harm anyone else. And I bound him in the name of Jesus and told him to leave, and I told him to go to hell.
And you were 15 at the time doing this?
I was 15, yes.
Wow, you were brave.
No, I wasn't. I was always peeing my pants.
I'm so sorry. So what did he finally leave? Did he finally leave your room?
Yes, and that's when, I didn't get to really tell you the rest of the story on this, but he did. He completely left. He just vaporized. He was gone. And within about 10 minutes, it warmed up. It started warming up in the room like a normal room. And I was collapsed on the bed, and I could hear this banging noise on the outside of the house.
Oh, my God.
Of somebody ramming their fist against the outside of the house. The door was slamming on the porch, which was right outside the living room where my bed was. And it was bam, 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 bam. The boards on the porch were coming up, the planks on the floor, and they were slamming down, slamming down, slamming down. And I had some validation because I called my dad. And this was like 1 o'clock in the morning, so he had answered immediately. This is back before cell phones and everything else. So he answered the phone and he said, "What?" And he knew that something happened. And I said, "Dad, do you hear that?" And he said, "Who is that?" And I said, "I don't know who it is." And he said, "I'm coming down now." Now, the house that my mom and dad built on the family property was back up on the top of the hill. It had snowed 2.5 feet that night. So my dad couldn't get the car down the hill to where I was. He ran 2/10 of a mile in 2 feet of snow to get down there. He brought his flashlight and what I think I remember a pipe of all things. And he ran down to the porch and he said, "Okay, I'm coming, honey." And he got to the porch and he stopped to look for someone. And he walked around the porch. He walked back into the kitchen door, which is in the back of the house with the cellar and everything in. And I let him in. And he said, "There's nothing out there." And he said, and what's more is, he said, "There's no footprint."
Oh.
He said, "That's snow. It's fresh."
Oh, my God.
And I said, "Daddy, there was somebody out there." He said, "I know, honey. I heard it myself." And he sat down at the kitchen table, and we sat down, and honestly, we were speechless. And I told him the story. He did not know about it. And I told him the story. And he looked limp, just like he was going to, he didn't know whether to cry or what. And a door opens up in the living room, and in waddles my grandmother. And she said, "Well, Charlie, what are you doing here?" It was like, and Dad said, I don't know why I'm here." And he said, she called me and told me that there was probably someone outside, and I could hear some noises over the phone, so I decided to come down and check it out. And he said she was older, and there was no sense in stressing her,
Mm-hmm.
She didn't hear it, so it wasn't meant for her. And so we pretty much was over that, and I honestly believe that was the last time that I had an experience with that entity. Not to say that I don't still see shadow people once in a while, or
so you
kind of like little elves. I see, short little shadows sometimes. And
wow. So you never saw that entity again.
I never saw it again.
Wow.
And I tell you, it was funny this week when I was researching, and I was going through the scriptures about being delivered from different things, the things that Jesus delivers us from. And I'm sure people have their own belief system on this, but I'm here to say that one of the things is that in the prophecy about him coming, it says that the chastisement of our peace was upon him. In other words, we were able to have peace from all those things because of the crucifixion. And I believe that I used his name and found that. And plus, I pray for angels constantly to guard my family and to guard me and the people I love. And I honestly believe, Maureen, that no demon has a chance against it. They cannot penetrate that. That was such a powerful experience. And to realize the difference after it left and the anger that was exerted on practically taking the siding off the side of my grandmother's house proved that there is power. There is power in the name of Jesus. And I believe that with all my heart.
And so you were 15, and did you say the last time you were raped when you were 14?
It was an attempted rape.
Oh, an attempted rape.
Yes, and I put my mark on that guy. So it was clear that he better look over his shoulder, you know. But it doesn't surprise me that people have these experiences when they have such trauma in their lives. It might be they're beaten constantly, or maybe they were witnessing abuse of some kind of one of their siblings or their mother. And I think that from what I understand and what I've learned is that it is damaging on so many levels, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I've had physical problems because of it, and emotional issues because of it. And I've been very fortunate to have found some wonderful psychologists that work with me, wonderful ministers that worked with me. And also, I think the fact that because of these issues, I believe that I have gifts now that I didn't have before, and that I'm able to be more empathic and understand things that I shouldn't even know about people. And because of what's happened to me, I believe that the gifts come. And after reading so many stories, you know, like online and talking to people, it seems to be a result of things like that, a near-death experience or something like that. They get gifts, and it's a blessing.
Mm-hmm. So, what is happening now? So, when you were 15, you saw this entity. You hadn't, and then you saw him that one time. And then what happened as the years went on?
Well, as the years went on, that's when I couldn't make the connection at that age between the spiritual attack and the physical attack. The physical attacks were buried so deep that it made it difficult for me to address those issues. I think a lot, especially for my generation, and still I think it exists, there's a lot of shame associated with family members and such, that kind of thing going on. And especially the violence of the nature of the attacks that have taken place on myself and my sisters. And you can tell that, you know, even by the way I'm speaking right now, how upsetting it is.
When you had your last rape at 14, was this the same? Is this the same person that had been attacking you?
No, but it was one of his friends.
Oh.
So that's why might be some connection. And the attack that took place when I was probably maybe 4 years old, that was just a neighborhood person that didn't necessarily have anything to do with these other men.
So it wasn't family then? I thought it was family that you were being attacked by.
Yes. The first one, yes, it was. And, well, I have a list here. I had to write it down because it's really, really hard for me to talk about. So at 7, I was molested by an uncle. The one when I was an infant, I believe it was uncles and possibly a grandfather on the other side of the family. It is actually easier in some ways for me to recall the attacks from the people who were just friends or acquaintances in the neighborhood than the ones that were relation. Relation is very, very difficult to come to terms with. And it's betrayal. It's, you lose your sense of self-worth and your own judgment is gone. You feel like you deserve it. It's something that it's overtaking. It just takes over everything. And that carries on really through your whole life, and until you just have to constantly remind yourself that you're a worthy person and that you didn't deserve it, and those kind of things. So, like I said, it's emotional level, it's spiritual, it's a lot of things. Maureen, it's probably, as far as being victimized, it's one of the most difficult things to survive. You can take an outright beating much better than you can a sexual assault.
What about other members of the family? Are you starting to get in contact with them and to see if they were experiencing the same thing you were by a family member?
Yes, I have. And I was able to speak to one family member this week, and we shared our memories of one attack that we both were there. And she has better recollection of it than I do. She's 3 years older, and she can recall things much better because I was so young that I didn't know what was going on. I just was being hurt and felt like, why would this person hurt me? I thought they were supposed to love me. And but she has more recall on that, and that was, in some ways, I think it was kind of more damaging to her. But it was. We talked about how many times and the places and occasions that it happened, and it's very hard to make a list. It's very hard. I even made a physical timeline this week, trying to write in that timeline when these assaults actually occurred, and I was only able to fill in about 6. And I think she can't even go there in a lot of ways. I think she has some very vivid recollection, but she still has a lot of difficulty with it, and I'm not sure if it would even be beneficial. It's like, it happened. There's not anything you can do about it.
Is it the same relative, or is another relative in her family?
It's in my family.
The relatives in your family that was raping her?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's and when I hear myself talk about it, I thought, how did I survive that? How did she survive it? And we're really strong women, and it's funny. I think we're just extremely blessed and I just recently learned that another family member was also assaulted after conversations with a couple of other people. And I didn't know. And it's very sad. And some of these people that have been victims of this specific predator can't even speak of it. It is extremely difficult for them to speak of it. But I think that fortunately we were spiritually protected in some ways and were able to take control over it, even though all kinds of things were flying around us and kind of making it more confusing. We've had UFO sightings and the ghost that's on the family property showed up, and it was a boy that was killed on the family property. He had the horse roll over on him, stuffed into his brain. He was 14. Oddly enough, he was the same age as I was in the last assault that I remember.
And you saw him?
Oh, yeah, I saw him. In fact, I'd seen him for a long time. He was standing in the same place, probably where his horse fell. And I went to my grandmother and I said, Mama, has anybody ever been killed on this property? And she said, oh, yeah. She said, the prettiest little blonde-haired young man was killed on the property. His horse rolled over on him. And his dad looked for him for a very long time until he found the horse down with a broken leg and his son laying underneath him. And I said, well, what happened to him? She said, oh, they brought him down to the house here, put him on the back porch, and he died there. And, and I said, okay, well, I didn't tell her that I'd seen the ghost, but I just I thought, by now, people think I'm crazy. I thought, if I keep talking about this stuff, they're going to lock me up.
Well, not this crowd that you're talking to. You're talking to the right crowd. You're talking to the right people.
My sister and I were walking to church, and I never said anything to her about it. And this was the other sister that was also victimized. And we were walking down the hill from where my mom and dad's house were, and it was a nice, beautiful summer day. It was daylight. And she looked up on the side of the hill, and she said, Daddy? I said, yeah. She said, what the hell is that? And I said, yeah, I know. And she said, do you see it? I said, yeah, I do. And a cute little young man with blonde curly hair, and he raised his hand up and waved at us, and we didn't see him anymore after that. I kind of missed him. Very sweet guy.
You know, with this raping and this possibly generational curse that might be happening within your family, have you been able to go back any farther to find out if this was happening back in other generations?
Well, most of the people are dead now. Like I said, I'm 62,
yeah.
But I have had a conversation with one family member in her 70s and another family member she talked about who is now passed away, which would have been, 90 years ago. So there's a rumor about my great-grandfather and that he was quite abusive to his first wife, physically abusive, and almost to the point where he would torture her. And on my other side of that particular side of the family, up another direction, the same way. And I'm not sure that it was so unusual back in those days for men to think of women as property, and keeping them pregnant constantly and against their will, and men that value their women, but we're talking about pioneers and people who settled this part of what was Virginia at that time. And they had to be tough people. And I think the women were particularly tough, but I know of one ancestor that, I don't know if you know about the Trans-Allegheny Mental Hospital in Virginia.
Yeah, I know of it.
Yeah, and there's been a lot, TAPS has been there. There's a lot of activity in that building. One of those women spent the remainder of her life there, and she was driven insane by her husband, and attempted to kill her children. And I'm sure it was horrible, and that's going back 150 years. So I'm assuming that it went all the way back. And considering that demons are eternal, if it had attached to our family to cause trouble back then, it's probably always been there.
We have a question in the chat room. F Warrior wants to know if the family members that abuse her also abuse children outside of the family.
I would assume they did. I don't know of any. I haven't had anybody come forward and say anything yet. Maybe as time goes by and this leaks out that I've talked about it in my family, I might get some stories, but not as of yet.
Mm-hmm. Is that uncle still alive?
No, he died probably about 10 years ago.
And what about does he have any sons?
No.
Oh, good thing.
He has daughters, and this is one of the reasons why I'm so cautious is that, and some other people that were near to him that are still living. And it's not something I just want to blurt out to them, because when I had my memory come back about the infant attack, it was so traumatizing, Maureen, that I experienced pelvic pain as if it were actually happening.
Oh my God.
And it took me, I remember, I had to get up and go to work, and I couldn't get out of bed. I was in so much pain, and the dream was so vivid that I'm not sure that I was even asleep. It was there in front of me, and I saw it happen. And my stomach, and I remember my back hurting really, really bad. And I cried for quite a while, and then I was able to pull myself together, and believe it or not, I went to work. But I think that if that had come to my mind, if I had remembered that at an earlier time in my life, I think I would have been locked up. I think I probably would have been in an institution. But because I had decided that I did want to know the truth, I was able to have that memory.
What do you think triggered your memory?
It was kind of the same thing. I was, that's the reason why, when Tess was talking about being attacked in her sleep by demons, I wasn't physically attacked in my sleep, but they were in my dream. And I was having difficulty trying to interpret what that meant and what the anxiety was, what the fear was. And one day I just got tired of it because it was happening every night. And I just said, you know what, enough of the demon dreams. I don't want to have them anymore. I prayed against it. I said, if you can't do any better than that, then just, don't. Just go away. So every night I would pray that my dreams would be blessed and that I'd only be given the information that I needed to recover.
But
And
you never had a dream where a demon was attacking you sexually, did you?
no, it wasn't sexual, and it was physical in that I would be literally in my sleep. I dreamed that I would be clawed by it, or it was biting me, or I would be wrapped up in it, like rolling over it like a mountain, or inside of a vehicle, or something like that. It was different scenarios every time, and it one attacked me in my dream I was dreaming that I was driving on the West Coast of all things. I've only driven the West Coast one time. And I was on the highway, and you know how the rock cliff drops off into the ocean?
Mm-hmm.
And this demon attacked me while I was driving that highway, and I was heading for the rock cliff. And in that dream, I did call out the name of Jesus again. But it was so real, and I just thought, I'm exhausted from all of that. I don't want it anymore. And I just came against it like I did the one in the bedroom, and decided, enough. This is it. I'm not doing this anymore. And it was over.
So I think I asked you this previously. What is happening now in your life? What is happening? What do you intend to do with all of this?
Heal myself. I think that I still have maybe a little more recovery to go. I feel a lot more at peace with my life, and maybe that's just a sign of my age or whatever. I would like for some of the creativeness that I have to come back and get excited about being more creative. I'd like to help other women especially, although I believe that I will eventually be working with men as well. I've had a couple of people come forward and tell me their stories, and they're men, and have had a very similar experience. It's sad, and it's sad that people live in the shadow of it for their whole lives, as I did. And I would like to help people not have to do that, because there are things that do happen that are good from trauma. And one of them is, if you're lucky enough, you start getting gifts. You start getting gifts that guide you, whether it's like I said before, I believe that mine was sort of like being an empath. I've had the occasion to pray for people, and they've been healed of disease, and it's not every day, and somebody couldn't make an appointment to come and have me pray for this, and it would happen. It really has to be guided, and it has to be the right time for it to happen. And I believe that all of those things happen when you suddenly are healing your spirit, that good things start happening, and you're able to help other people and guide other people. And since all of this, and I've gotten a little bit healthier, my sister that has passed away visits me from time to time in my sleep and gives me messages about my family, and I'm able to go to them and say, are you doing this? Is this happening in your life? Things that they've kept secret? Well, she wants you to do this, and they'll be shocked by the information.
Wow.
And I think I'm just more open, and of course this is not Main Street Christianity, but it's okay, it's my Christian definition and my life, and I feel at peace with it, and I feel good about it. And it's just since I've been watching you, Noreen, has all of this come up in my mind that this is actually something that could help someone. And I really thank you so much for being able to do this with you. And I think that other people will come forward, and I think that other people will tell their stories. And the more it's told, the more it's controlled. And I think it can be stopped in families.
We have I have another question for you. Have you any idea why the demons targeted you and not others who have undergone the same experiences?
That's something that I actually do know the answer to. I think that I have a kind of psychic ability, that my spiritual being is open. And to destroy that, to destroy something good, somebody spiritual like that, Satan sends all of his big guys, and all the environment is controlled just to control that person. And Satan wanted to keep me from being able to speak to people like I'm doing right now, being able to pray for someone when they're in trouble, or pray for their healing, or reveal something to them through a word of knowledge or something that I shouldn't even know. And I recognize when someone's in pain, when they're not talking about it, and they may seem totally normal. That's what they want to stop. They want to bury you. And you don't have to accept it. You can totally control it by invoking the name of Jesus and just keeping it under control, because that is the only thing that is more powerful. And God the Father was the creator of all of this. And they have to obey. They have to. That's the reason why I know that it can be stopped. And I know it can be controlled in a family. And I've got some contracts going with some younger generations now in my family that no more secrets. You tell, and you tell everything, and you let me know, and we're going to get rid of this now. So, and people are starting to come to me now. It's really weird, and it wasn't like I went on a radio show with Maureen. It just happened, and it's all happened actually very recently. I'd say within the last year. And I feel really blessed to be able to do it. And I thank you so much, Noreen, for letting me talk about this. And all that was really hard for me to talk about.
I know it was. I know, because there for a while we weren't sure you were going to come on the show, but then you had made a decision that you were going to, that you were feeling much stronger, and you wanted to get your story out, and hopefully you could help somebody else. And I think that's wonderful that you do.
Thank you. I just think that the longer I keep it a secret, the more powerful that secret becomes. And then they just win again. So I've got to say it out loud.
Awesome. Anything else you want to say to the viewers?
Just thank you so much, everyone that hung in there with me. Thank you so much. I know it's kind of a long and involved story and had a lot of sidebars and stuff, but and I know that there are people out there that are experiencing supernatural things and experiencing ghosts and maybe even UFOs. And those people are, if you're under distress by it, if it is causing you to be dysfunctional or whatever, try to find some help and some friends and support. And you might even start in that chat room that's right there on the screen, and people will help you because they identify with you. And I'd be glad, Noreen, if you want to forward anything to me, that I would be glad to speak to someone. I just want to make sure that it's not that my information is broadcasted to people who are still struggling so much and just aren't ready to come out. So, thank you again, and
thank you.
And I hope everybody got something. I don't know.
Debbie, thank you so much for being on the show and telling your story. And there's probably people that are listening that aren't in chat, and they will be watching the show and once it goes into the archives as well. I can guarantee you that.
Well, yeah, I hope it has some effect. It's not, Noreen, I still think that it helped me, and it helps me to say the words that I said. And I love you, girls. You're just amazing.
Oh, Deb, honey, thank you so much. I'm up for this for anybody who has a story to tell, and because there are stories out there that nobody has ever heard before. You know how many of us that don't know about these kind of experiences. I've never experienced them like that, and thank you so much for sharing your story. And if there's anything I can do for you in the future, please let me know.
Oh, I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Hey, everybody. Thank you, Debbie, again for being on the show and sharing your story. She did mention, there was somebody in the chat room that said, did she give a description of the entity? And she did. And she did give a description of the entity, which would freak me out. Everybody, thanks so much for being here and watching the show. I appreciate it. Let's see. Next week I have 2 shows. I have my show on Thursday is The Myth of the Boogeyman. Why are we afraid of the dark and monsters under our bed? And then I also have a special show. There is a filmmaker here in my town. It's called Mancoon Productions. And they are trying to get donations. They need $45,000 to make a film on the Day at Love Pass incident. They have new information that they were able to get from the Russians and from the files. And they want to present this. It's going to be the Day at Love story incident, the untold story. And he's going to come to my house because they live in my same town. And the fellow Don Baker who wrote the screenplay, we will have him up on Skype with video. So I hope you can join in. So I have to work with my techie. I'm not sure what night we're going to do that second show. I'm really excited about that. And I know they're going to make a movie out of it, and they may not want to tell everything, but I'm hoping that they will give us a little bit of information about that, because that Day at Love Pass incident is such a mystery. And everybody has their own information on it. Everybody says something different about it. So, and anyway, so I will have them here in my studio. So, everybody, thanks so much. Let me do some shout outs. Joe Moyer, Jen LL, Chipateria, Trent Bennett, thanks for being mod. Cynthia Starlet, David Coffin, thank you for being here. Renee Rates, Mary Dallas, Maria Amador, Spooky Raven, thank you, Spooky. Astro, Debbie Bass. I know Cat Angel was in, and Penny Walton. Let's see, Royce Himmon was in earlier. Yvonne Bessett. Anybody else? I didn't have such a big crowd tonight. I guess hey Kat, I guess hi Unique Annie, Joey the Dark Walker, Mitch Kenworth, the July Lioness. Oh, hi Royce, Michael DeWild, Diane Hilbert, Kimberly Stein, Butterfly Kisses. I guess the title must have scared some people off, but hopefully they'll watch it in the archives. And I guess Kat has a show tomorrow night. Per Bugalo, Putty Tat, Eight Putty, welcome back to the United States. Maria Amador, Tess Rudkins. Tess is here. Tess, I did the show with Tess a couple of weeks ago, Stalked by a Demon. Thank you for being here, Tess. Quizzle. Oh, Amanda. Exario. F Warrior. Show tomorrow night. Yes, Kat. Don't forget, everybody, show tomorrow night with Kat. She'll be posting and I'll be posting for her. Chuck Thurston, I thought you were going to get yourself a different name. Diana Pavelko. Is that Pavelko? Is that Dana? Is that Russian? Oh God, listen. Hey, I had 30 people sign up. Richard Ratcliffe. Hi, Richard. You can sign up on my website. It's the only website I have right now. You can sign up paranormalzone.tv and sign up for the emails. I have 30 people. Hi, Susie. Paranormal Princess Patricia. I have 30 people that I sent out emails to tonight. Bloody Mary. Did you guys get them? Did you get any of the email I sent out? I have 30 people signed up who wanted to know about Slovak. Okay. That wanted to get emails for the shows. And so I sent out 30 of them tonight. Yeah, David Coffin, I did a show on that Date to Love Pass incident. It was fabulous, fabulous. Yes, Chipper, I know I got you. Chipper, did you get the email? Did you get the email? It was a fabulous show. It's on my other channel. I'll know. I think I'll find out next week if I get my channel back or not. I fought the copyright and Cynthia Starlight. Well, you guys, if I'm going to send out emails, you got to look at your emails. I'll find out next week if I get my my channel back. I rebutted it twice, so we'll see what happens. Sorry. Yeah, so I'm really... Oh, well. Everybody. So, Kat, did you get the email? Guys, let me know if you got the email. Oh, you did get your email. Okay. So, I'm going to send you guys a weekly email to remind you about the show. Now, I sent out 30 of them tonight. Yes, I did. Yes, with Paul Eno. I thought it was an excellent show. It's got, I think it's got like 18,000 views now, but it's on my other channel. Okay, thanks, Spooky. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks so much. No, Putty, you weren't on there. Okay, so... Oh, sorry, I'm coughing now. Oh, Alexandria Violet. Okay. So, guys, I'm going to send you an email, and you've got to check them. Hold on. I'm going to start coughing now. So, I'll send you a reminder again for the show. Please check it. If you want reminders, just go over to paranormalzone.tv. Go to the email list and just sign up, and you'll get an email reminding you of the shows. Me too. I hope I do too. The guy had no right at all to claim that. So anyway, okay, guys, thanks so much. The website is paranormalzone.tv. And that's my website that I have, the only one I have right now. And you can sign up for emails, and you will get notifications of the shows. Oh, yes. I'm looking forward to your show. Near-death experiences. Awesome. Awesome. Don't forget, everybody, Kat show tomorrow night. I love you, Kat. And for my mods, thank you for modding tonight for me. That's it. Thank you. B-Singer11, thank you. And so I guess I'm going to go, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. Oh, Sorry for coughing. That happens sometimes. Anyway, so thank you again. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope I'll see you all next week. Okay, so everybody, good night. I love you. Thank you so much. And I love you guys. Good night. See you tomorrow night. See you at Spooky Show on Tuesday. And see you tomorrow night. Elaine Moultrie Michael. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow night at Cat Show. Okay? Good night, everybody. Love you. Good night. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
I believe, given the personality issues that some of the women in my family have had from generations before me, I believe that they were also subject to this kind of abuse. And if you just read like a list of symptoms from PTSD, you'll see a lot of those things with people who are sexually abused, and they're treated as patients with PTSD. And there are situations where they have amnesia, loss of memory, self-esteem, guilt, all kinds of things, and they operate their whole lives under the influence of those acts. It ruins their whole ability to make decisions and judgment.
So do you want to go on with your story?
Sure, yeah. There were other people that were predators in our area, which makes me think it was kind of part of the drinking alcoholic scene from back in those days. And you know, I'll let the listeners know I'm 62 years old, and it took me the better part of my life to figure out the connection and the paranormal influences that resulted from it or came before it or caused it. And I have memory of being assaulted at 3. I have memory of being assaulted at 7. And I'm sure that there are other situations where I don't remember anything. And around these assaults, there's a lot of paranoia, a lot of fear that you're going to be victimized again. And you start having experiences. I believe it opens the door. I believe it opens the door to negative spirits. And these are things that I talked to one of my friends and a relative about the hand from under the bed, which is really, excuse me, a common occurrence with children, and and crying. And it was actually, my dream took place from my own point of view. I could actually see out of my own eyes. And my grandmother came in the room, and she was flinging her arm, picked me up, put me on her arm and over her shoulder, and carried me out of the room.
And this was a dream?
I don't believe it was the dream. I believe it was a memory.
A memory. I think I mentioned this to you, with 3 men and you being surrounded by these 3 men. That from all the readings and stuff that I've done, it leans toward a possible satanic rape.
Well, I think it certainly was evil, and it certainly wasn't of God. And I believe that there's a possibility, considering how many alcoholics are in that side of the family, that they could have been drunk or maybe using drugs or something. I don't know, but I don't think that they were certainly not in their right mind.
Do you know of any practices or rituals that anybody in your family may have been doing?
Not that I'm aware of. West Virginians, I told you I'm from West Virginia, and I don't mind that being out because I think that in the mountains there's a lot of different cultures and people that have lived up the hollers for centuries, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if there were some sort of abuse ritual at some point. I don't believe it exists in my family. I think it was just straight up sexual abuse, and I think it was pedophile in nature, and I know that other family members have also experienced it, maybe not from the all three or anything else, but isolated situations where they were also victimized.
Now you've said to me that this has gone back to many generations.
Related.
Oh, are you there?
Yes.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yes, spiritually. All right, so do you want to start from the beginning and tell them your story?
Sure. I believe that the sexual abuse for me started when I was an infant, and it was not my immediate family, not my mother or father, but someone who was babysitting me, and I had no memory of it at all. So this is something that is hard to express, because as I get along in the story, you'll be able to see why that's so. It went on until I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and I had one sexual attack again at 14, but I was aware of what was going on, was able to fight it off. The demonic activity or the paranormal activity started probably when I was not even 3 years old.
Jill, Debbie, may I ask you a question? When we spoke the other day, you had mentioned to me about you thought this happened to you when you were about 2 years old, and that there were 3 men in the room.
Yes, and my grandmother on my father's side of the family, and I believe that she rescued me, and I think she took me from that situation, but it had already occurred.
And so you remember an incident from when you were 2?
I did not remember. I had amnesia to that particular event until I was much older, when I had a dream, and I asked for the dream. I actually did, because I was fighting demons in my sleep, and I just said, enough of this. I want to know the real truth.
Okay, go ahead.
And I had the dream, and the dream was that I was lying on like a table, and I could look up and see these 3 men, and there may have even been a 4th one, but I don't think that they were participating. And I remember being in a lot of pain. Okay.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Paranormal Zone TV on Do You Believe show. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. I'm kind of, Tonight's show is something I've never done before. Now, you guys have been with me for years. You know I've never done anything like this before. And I'm so excited because my guest, well, I'm going to let her tell you her story and how she contacted me. Now, listen, everybody, it's going to be graphic in nature. She's going to tell her whole story. And some of you may not like what she has to say, and hey, but I'm warning you, okay? And it's quite a story that she has. The descriptions of her demonic entity is nothing like I've ever heard before. And so I'm a little nervous about this, but for tonight, she doesn't want to be, she wants to be anonymous. So tonight I'm going to call her Debbie just for the sake of a name. And so everyone, let's welcome Debbie to the show. Hey, Debbie, thank you so much. Are you okay?
I'm great, Noreen. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate the opportunity that you're giving me to speak on this topic and to kind of have a little confessional. And I just want to say hi to all the listeners and those in the chat room that might have had a similar experience. It's actually more common than I thought when I got onto the internet and started researching. It was surprising to me how many experiences there were online and how many people were experiencing the night terrors and the visitations. And I'm just really glad to be able to kind of come out to the world and tell them my story.
And Debbie, actually, this happened because of a show I did several weeks ago, the show called Stalked by a Demon. And you had sent me a message explaining to me about your story. So tell the viewers how you contacted me, and actually Debbie was really leery about coming out. So tell them the story.
Well, I was hesitant to come out simply because one of the reasons was because I hadn't really solidified everything in my own mind, and the other was that I was afraid of exposing someone that might be still being abused, and it was a hard decision, but I think this anonymous kind of situation is really helping me a lot to be able to come forward and tell all the details that I need to tell. And I don't, like I was telling you, Noreen, that I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, whether it was the demons that came first or the actual sexual abuse in the family. And also in the neighborhood, there were others in the neighborhood that were also participating in this. So I don't really know, but I think it's good to be able to understand what you can do to overcome it.
And you were telling me also you had a reason for doing this, that you want to help other people. Yes, I do. I mean, I have no desire to use this in any way other than to help people with their own issues, and whether it's being abused or being a victim of some other abuse. I do believe that it is very much spiritually related.